Stop. Right now. Before you scroll past this. Before you convince yourself this is just another video. I need you to hear something. Something that has been waiting for you. Something that was placed in your path at this exact moment, on this exact day, for a reason that goes far deeper than you currently understand. You did not find this video. This video found you. And that difference, that small but enormous difference, is everything. Chosen one, listen carefully. The fact that you are here, watching this, in this moment of your life, is not a coincidence. It is not random. It is not luck. It is confirmation. Divine, undeniable. Soul-shaking confirmation that everything you have been going through, everything you have been feeling, everything that has made you question yourself, question the world, question why your path looks so different from everyone else's, has been leading you right here, right to this moment, right to this message. And I know what you have been carrying. I know you have been tired in a way that sleep cannot fix. I know there have been nights where you lay in the dark with thoughts too heavy to explain to anyone. I know you have felt alone even in rooms full of people. I know you have smiled on the outside when something inside you was breaking quietly. And I know that more than once, you have wondered if any of it has a point. If you have a point, if any of this struggle is going somewhere, or if you are just suffering for nothing. Type yes if this speaks to your spirit. But here is what I need you to hear. That pain you have been carrying, that isolation you have felt, that exhaustion that goes all the way down to your bones, none of it was accidental. None of it was wasted. Every single moment of it was building something inside you that the ordinary world cannot manufacture. Something rare, something real, something that most people will go their entire lives never developing because they never went through what you have gone through. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to fit in. And the sooner you fully accept that truth, the sooner everything around you begins to shift. There is something different about you. There always has been. Even as a child, you felt it. You noticed things other people didn't notice. You felt things more deeply. You were moved by things that left others completely untouched. You looked at the world and sensed there was something more beneath the surface. Something invisible but absolutely real. Something that the noise and rush of everyday life was covering up. And you couldn't explain it. You couldn't put it into words. But you felt it. Constantly. Like a quiet hum underneath everything. That feeling was not your imagination. That sensitivity was not a weakness. That awareness was not overthinking. It was a signal. A marking. Evidence of something working in you and through you that has been there since before you were even born. God has been preparing you. Not just recently, not just through this current season of your life, but for years. Quietly, strategically, intentionally. Every difficult person who misunderstood you was building your resilience. Every door that closed in your face was protecting you from a path that would have destroyed your purpose. Every friendship that fell apart was making room for something aligned. Every season of silence and waiting was not punishment. It was preparation, deep, invisible, sacred preparation for a version of your life that most people cannot even imagine yet. Comment Amen if you feel chosen. And I need you to understand something about those hard seasons. The ones that felt like they were going to break you. The ones where you couldn't see any light at the end, and you genuinely didn't know how you were going to make it through. Those seasons were not signs that God had forgotten you. They were signs that God was doing something too important, too precise, too significant to rush. Because the things God builds slowly are the things that last forever. And what is being built in you is built to last. You may have noticed that your path does not look like other people's paths. You may have noticed that the things that seem to come easily to others have required enormous amounts of struggle from you. You may have noticed that you have had to fight for things that others simply received. And for a long time, that probably felt deeply unfair. It probably made you question yourself, made you wonder what was wrong with you, why it had to be so hard, why you couldn't just have an easy, normal life like everyone else seemed to have. But chosen one, what if the difficulty of your path was never a punishment? What if it was actually a sign of the magnitude of what you were being prepared for? Because the higher the calling, the harder the preparation, the greater the purpose, the deeper the refining process. And everything you have walked through, everything that nearly broke you and didn't, was the fire that was turning you into something that cannot be burned. Like this video, if you feel this confirmation. There is a reason you are hearing this today. Not tomorrow, not last year, today. Because something is shifting, something in the spiritual atmosphere around your life is beginning to move. Doors that were sealed shut are beginning to loosen. Prayers you prayed in the dark are beginning to find answers. Things you gave up hope on are beginning to breathe again. You cannot see it yet with your physical eyes, but somewhere deep in your spirit you already feel it. That quiet stirring, that gentle electricity, that sense that something is about to change. Hold on to that feeling, because it is not wishful thinking. It is spiritual perception. And it is accurate. You have passed through something enormous. Something that most people never survive emotionally and spiritually intact. And the fact that you are still here, still watching, still seeking, still open, still believing in something bigger than what you can see, that is evidence of a strength inside you that is not fully human. That is divine endurance. That is the mark of someone who was made for more. Type 90 if you trust God's timing. Let me speak to the isolation for a moment, because I know it has been one of the heaviest things you have carried. The feeling that no one truly understands you. The feeling that you are always slightly out of place, even in your own circles. The way you sometimes look around at other people living what seems like uncomplicated lives and wonder why yours has always felt so much more layered, so much more intense, so much more spiritually loaded. And there have been moments where that isolation has felt like rejection, where you have interpreted it as evidence that something is wrong with you. But I need you to reframe that right now, because what you have been experiencing as isolation has actually been separation, divine separation, the kind that God performs on people who are called to carry something rare. Because if you had stayed fully embedded in every circle, fully understood by every person, fully comfortable in every room, you would never have developed the interior depth that you now carry. You would never have been forced to go inward, to seek, to question, to grow, to discover the layers of yourself that ordinary comfort never reveals. The people who change the world are always the ones who first spent significant time feeling like they don't quite belong in it. That is not a coincidence. That is the pattern of every chosen life throughout all of human history. And your story is following that exact pattern. Nothing about your life has been accidental. Nothing. Not the family you were born into. Not the challenges that came early. Not the losses. Not the confusion. Not the seasons where everything fell apart at once and you could not understand why. Every single element of your story has been woven together with a precision that the human mind cannot fully comprehend. Because it was not assembled by human hands. It was assembled by something eternal, something all-knowing, something that could see the end of your story from before the beginning of it, and chose this exact path for you with complete awareness of where it leads. And where it leads is somewhere extraordinary. Type 120 if you are ready for breakthrough. But let's talk about the attacks. Because if you are truly chosen, and everything inside you is saying that you are, then you know that the journey has not just been difficult in ordinary ways. There have been moments that felt spiritually dark. Moments where things went wrong in ways that felt too targeted, too specific, too precisely aimed at your weakest points to be purely accidental. Relationships that were sabotaged from the inside. Opportunities that collapsed at the last moment. Seasons of such profound mental and emotional heaviness that it felt like something was actively working against you. And chosen one, I am here to tell you that your perception was not wrong. There is something that fights against people like you, not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous to everything that wants to keep the world in darkness. Because the gifts inside you, the calling on your life, the purpose you were created to walk in, it terrifies the forces that benefit from people staying small, staying silent, staying confused about who they are and what they carry. The attack is evidence of the anointing. The resistance is evidence of the calling. And the fact that you have survived every single one of those attacks, that you are still standing, still seeking, still here, that is not luck, that is protection. Divine, deliberate, unconditional protection from something that is far more powerful than anything that has ever come against you. Comment Amen if you know God has protected you. Even in your hardest moments, you were not alone. Even in the nights that felt completely dark, there was a presence with you. Even when you felt most abandoned, most broken, most unsure of who you were or whether you had a future worth believing in, something was there. Something was covering you. Something was making sure that the breaking went only deep enough to open you, not deep enough to destroy you. And you felt it, even if you couldn't name it. That inexplicable sense that somehow, against all the evidence, you were going to be okay. That sense was real. It was not denial. It was spiritual knowledge. The part of you that is connected to something eternal already knew what your wounded human self was struggling to believe. You have been spiritually awakened in a way that most people around you simply have not been. And that awakening has come with a cost. Because once your eyes are truly open, you cannot close them again. Once you begin to see the deeper patterns, the hidden meanings, the spiritual dimensions beneath the surface of everyday life, you cannot unsee them. And that means you often feel a level of awareness, a level of sensitivity, a level of spiritual weight that the people around you simply do not share. And it can feel incredibly lonely, incredibly heavy, like carrying something enormous that no one else can see. But that weight is not a curse. It is a responsibility. It is the natural result of being someone who has been given eyes to see. And the people who carry the heaviest spiritual weight are always the ones who were created to carry the most light. Type yes if you feel spiritually awake. Let me tell you something about the next chapter of your life. Because this is where the script changes. This is where everything you have been building through the suffering and the waiting and the fighting begins to manifest in the visible world. This is the moment that all those invisible seasons were pointing toward. You are not in the middle of your story. You are at a turning point, a threshold, a doorway between what your life has been and what your life is about to become. And the reason I can say that with such certainty is not just spiritual intuition, though that is part of it. It is because of the very fact that you are here. People who are not ready for the next level do not find messages like this. They are not drawn to content that speaks to awakening, to destiny, to divine purpose. They are not sitting here feeling every word land in their chest like confirmation of something they already knew but needed to hear out loud. The fact that this is resonating with you at this depth is itself evidence that something in you recognizes the truth of what is being spoken. And that recognition is your spirit, confirming that you are exactly where you are supposed to be, hearing exactly what you are supposed to hear, at exactly the right moment. This is not random. This is divine timing, operating with perfect precision. Like this video if you believe in divine timing. Now I want to speak to the version of you that is tired. The version that has been holding on for so long that the holding itself has become exhausting. The version that has prayed the same prayers for years and is starting to wonder if anything is actually listening. The version that has believed and fought and kept going and chosen hope over despair again and again and again, and is now running on the last reserves of something that used to feel like faith, but now just feels like stubbornness. To that version of you, I want to say something very specific. Your tiredness is not weakness. It is evidence of how long you have been fighting for something that matters. Ordinary people do not fight this hard. Ordinary people do not hold on this long. Ordinary people do not keep choosing belief when everything around them is giving them every reason to quit. The fact that you are still here, still choosing, still open to messages like this, still reaching for something higher than what you can currently see. That is extraordinary. That is the mark of someone who was built for something that the ordinary world cannot contain. And the waiting is almost over. I feel that in a way that I cannot fully explain, but I know is true. The season of planting is giving way to the season of harvest. The season of preparation is giving way to the season of manifestation. The things you have been believing for in private are about to begin showing themselves in public. And the people who watched you struggle, who questioned your choices, who could not understand why you kept believing when everything seemed to be working against you, they are about to witness something that changes their understanding of who you are. Type 90 if you are ready for what is coming. There is something I want you to understand about the top 2%. Because that is what this message is for. That is who is meant to hear this. Not everyone, not the masses who move through life on the surface, who are satisfied with what they can see and touch and immediately understand. This message is for the 2% who have always sensed there is more, who have always felt the pull of something deeper, who have been willing to go through things that most people would have walked away from, because somewhere inside them They knew the destination was worth the journey. You are in that 2%. Not because of anything you did to earn it, not because you are better than other people, but because of the specific way you were made, the specific path you were given, the specific calling that was written into your existence before you ever took your first breath. You were fashioned for this. You were designed with the capacity to carry what you have been carrying and come out the other end, transformed rather than destroyed. And that transformation is happening right now. Even as you sit here, even as you listen to these words, something is shifting in the deepest parts of you. Something is settling. Something is aligning. Old things that no longer serve your purpose are falling away. New things that are meant to carry you into your next season are taking root. You may not feel it dramatically in this moment, but give it time. Give the seeds that are being planted right now the space to grow. Because what is coming up through the soil of your life is going to be more beautiful than anything you have imagined. Comment Amen if you receive this today. I want to speak about something that many people in your position struggle with. The feeling that you have wasted time. The feeling that you should be further along by now. The feeling that your peers have moved ahead while you were stuck in seasons of preparation and struggle and waiting. The comparison that creeps in when you see others living lives that look simpler, more successful, more visually impressive than yours. The quiet voice that sometimes whispers that you have missed your window, that your best years were spent in the wrong places, that the opportunities have passed, and what is left is simply making the best of what remains. I need you to reject that voice completely, because it is the oldest lie that is told to chosen people. It is the deception that has stopped more called people than any external enemy ever could. Because the enemy of your destiny does not need to take away your gifts. It just needs to convince you that you have already run out of time to use them, and that lie is absolutely false. Your timeline is not the world's timeline. Your schedule is not society's schedule. The pace at which your destiny unfolds has been calibrated to something far more precise and far more patient than human expectation. And what looks like delay from the outside is actually the final stages of a preparation process that is making sure that when you step into what you were called for, you step into it fully ready, fully formed, fully capable of not just reaching it but sustaining it. The best of your life is not behind you. It is in front of you. It is being built right now in the invisible places, and it is almost ready. Type 120 if you believe your best days are ahead. Let me tell you what the final test looked like. Because you have passed it, and you deserve to understand what you just came through. The final test was not a dramatic, obvious trial. It was not one single enormous challenge that you either survived or didn't. It was something far more subtle and far more difficult. It was the test of sustained faithfulness in the middle of extended silence. It was the ability to keep believing when there was no visible evidence to believe in. It was the choice to keep going when stopping would have been completely understandable. It was holding your sense of identity and purpose together through seasons that were specifically designed to make you question everything you thought you knew about yourself and your calling. And you did it. Imperfectly, yes. With wobbling and doubt and moments where you nearly gave in. But you did it. You are still here. You are still open. You are still reaching. And that is the definition of passing. Not perfection. not unwavering strength, but the persistent refusal to permanently quit on what you know is real inside you. You passed. And what that means for what comes next is everything. Type yes if you feel this in your spirit. Now, chosen one, I want to talk about what is required of you going forward. Because entering the next chapter of your life is not passive. It requires something specific from you. It requires alignment. It requires that you begin to let go of the things that you have been holding on to out of fear rather than faith. The relationships that drain you but feel familiar. The habits that comfort you but keep you small. The narratives about yourself that you inherited from your pain rather than from your truth. The version of yourself that was built for surviving what you came through, rather than the version that was built for living in what is coming. The transition between those two versions of yourself is the work of this season, and it is not easy work, because the survival version of you served a real purpose. It kept you alive. It kept you moving. It protected you when you needed protection. But it was never meant to be permanent. It was scaffolding, not the building. And now the scaffolding needs to come down so the building can be seen. You are the building. And what you are made of is extraordinary. Like this video, if you are ready to step into who you were made to be, there are people whose lives are going to be changed because of you. People who are waiting right now, in their own seasons of darkness and confusion, for someone who has been through what you have been through, and come out understanding what you now understand. People who need the specific kind of light that only comes from someone who has sat in the specific kind of darkness you have sat in. Your pain is not just your pain. It is going to become someone else's permission to believe again. Your survival is not just your survival. It is going to become someone else's proof that their own survival is possible. This is part of why your journey had to be what it was. Because generic journeys produce generic wisdom, and what is needed from you is not generic. What the people you are called to reach need from you is the wisdom that could only come from your exact, specific, painful, beautiful, complicated, chosen story. Nothing about your life has been accidental. Nothing has been wasted. Every piece of it is being used. Every piece of it has a purpose. Even the parts you are most ashamed of. Even the seasons you most wish you could erase. Even the mistakes you have carried the longest. All of it, every single bit of it, is being woven into something that will serve a purpose larger than your own individual life. Comment Amen if you believe your story has purpose. I want to end this by speaking directly to your heart. Not to your mind, which has heard enough information. Not to your intellect, which has already processed everything I have said. But to the deepest, quietest, most vulnerable part of you. The part that has been hoping for so long. The part that has been carrying faith like a small candle in a very large darkness. The part that has sometimes almost gone out, but somehow, inexplicably, never fully did. To that part of you, I want to say, you are seen, completely, perfectly. Not in spite of your complexity, but because of it. Everything you have been, everything you have done, everything you have felt, every moment of weakness, and every moment of extraordinary stubborn courage, it has all been witnessed, and it has all been honored by something that understands your journey in ways that even you do not fully understand yet. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not too broken. You are not too late. You are not too complicated. You are not too much or too little or too anything. You are exactly what was needed for exactly the purpose you were made for. And you are at exactly the right point in your journey, at exactly the right time, receiving exactly the message your spirit needed to hear today. There is a reason you are hearing this today. And that reason is beautiful. Type 90 if you receive this confirmation. The path ahead of you is not going to be easy. I will not lie to you about that, because chosen paths are never easy. They are rich, they are meaningful. They are full of moments of profound beauty and profound impact, and the deep satisfaction of knowing that your life is standing for something real. But they are not easy, and the weight you carry will not disappear. It will transform. It will shift from being the weight of confusion and unanswered questions into the weight of responsibility and purpose. And that second kind of weight is something you were made to carry. It will not crush you. It will anchor you. It will give you the kind of groundedness that makes everything else possible. You are entering a new era of your life. The old chapter is closing, not because it failed, but because it succeeded. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It prepared you. It shaped you. It revealed you to yourself in ways that nothing gentler could have achieved. And now it is complete. And what begins next is what everything before was pointing toward. Walk into it. Walk into it with your whole self, with your history and your scars and your hard-won wisdom, and your still burning hope. Walk into it knowing that you did not arrive here by accident. Walk into it knowing that the same power that carried you through everything you have already survived is the same power that will carry you through everything that lies ahead. Type 120 if you are walking into your next season with faith. You are chosen. You have always been chosen. And today, right now, in this moment, that truth is being confirmed to your spirit in a way that you will carry with you long after this video ends. Do not let the world convince you otherwise. Do not let the noise and the doubt and the comparisons and the delays talk you out of what you know is true in the deepest part of you. You know who you are. You have always known, even when you forgot. And this message was sent to remind you. This is your confirmation. This is your sign. This is the universe, God, the divine. Whatever name most resonates with your spirit, speaking directly to you and saying, I see you, I know you, I chose you, I have been with you through all of it, and I am with you still. And what I am doing in your life is not finished. It is not even close to finished. The best of it has not yet begun. Like this video if you receive this with your whole heart. And to the version of you that is still uncertain, that is still holding back a little, still protecting itself from fully believing in case believing hurts again. I want to say this: your caution makes sense. It makes complete sense, given everything you have been through. But this time is different, not because the road will be smooth, but because you are different. You are not the same person who entered the seasons that broke you. You came out the other side of those seasons with something that cannot be taken from you. A knowing, a depth, a quiet, unshakable core of resilience and faith that is now load-bearing in your life in a way it never was before. You can trust what is ahead, not because it will be easy, but because you have been proven capable of handling hard things and still finding your way to something good. And that capability is the greatest gift your difficult past ever gave you. Chosen one, this is not the end of the message. This is the beginning of the next chapter, the one you were built for, the one that has been waiting, the one that has your name on it. Go live it. commentamen and type yes if you are ready.